The Charlie Mountain Show, Episode 1. Let's go. Well. Welcome to the Charlie Mountain Show. This is my first episode. My real name, is Charlie Mountain. And I've been told many times to stop complaining and to take action. If I'm complaining about the state of the world I'm living in, then I must do something about it. So I thought, I'm gonna have to start my own show. Number 1, I ain't gonna lie. Number 2, I'm not a clone. I do not belong in any cult. I feel like I am a good man, and I feel like I am a unique human. Now, I'm gonna let you decide if I am a unique person or not once I start releasing a bunch of episodes. People can laugh at me. People can say, "Oh my god, that man is so fucking strange. What is he doing?" Well, I decided to expose myself. Here I am. I do not want to die. I am in love. And it is not someone who is trying to trick me, trying to diminish me. And it is certainly not someone who is acting as, how would I say, like a double agent for a military army. Jokes aside, people, I would like to speak about lies on my first episode. I think that people do not realize the amount of lies that we have been fed from a young age, and those lies are shaping the decisions we make, how we behave, our intelligence, and the future of our species. So, on this whiteboard that I have, I am going to start talking about the most important lies that we have been told. And if you know English and you understand what I'm saying, please listen. As a human, this is extremely important. Without this, as a species, we are extremely easy to control because we have nothing to compare. When we are told about our history, we either believe it because we want to believe something, or we have questions that are never going to be answered. So, the first thing that we are indoctrinated when we are very young is that the planet was formed in an explosion, and that explosion took place millions of years ago. The planet where we live in now is not a sphere. So that is the biggest lie that we have been told. And as a conspiracy theorist, when we talk about history, the first thing that has to come to play is flat Earth. Yes, people. I'm an engineer. My father is a chemist. My brother is a lab rat. And I believe in a flat earth for many reasons. Okay. The first reason why I believe in a flat earth is water. Water, whatever you want to call it. Water or water. If you see it with your own eyes, it always tends to flatten. Always. You will never see water curve. Water will never curve on its own. Never. So, in order for me to believe that our planet has this shape, that means that water has to bend, and the seas have to bend, and they have to have curvature. And they tell us that curvature is possible because of gravity. But what if that isn't true? Because we don't see it with our own eyes. Why do we call sea level? We call sea level because when we look at the sea, we see it flat. When you have a cup of water, it lays flat. Do you know why you have never seen a real replica of Earth as a globe in a small scale? Because water is impossible to make curve on its own. That is the number one reason why flat Earth has to be the only explanation. I know you people out there defending science. I have to say, you have to make water bend in a circle in order for this to not be true. Secondly, okay. Secondly, I would say the strongest statement that flat Earth is true are long distance photos. You see, if the Earth is round, okay, when you have distance between one point and another, there is a mathematical, whatever you say, there is math that has to demonstrate that this is possible, which means that when you go on a distance, there is going to be a correction in curvature. Okay? So if you take a photo from here, and there is a mountain here, at a certain distance, photos would make mountains disappear because of the correction in curvature if this is not true. However, thanks to technology, people are capable of taking photos of mountains that are so far away that they would be impossible to see unless the earth was flat. You can also try and get equipment yourself. Find a location and try and see if this is not true. You cannot erase what your eyes see. You cannot erase what technology proves. On a globe, long distance photos are impossible. So when I see on the internet people taking photos of skyscrapers at many kilometers or miles, that proves that Earth is flat. But let's continue, because there's more reasons why. Okay. The third reason why Earth is undoubtedly flat is the stars in the sky. Things that you can see with your own eyes prove that flat Earth is real. Because if you live in a circle which is spinning on its own, which is what science tells us, that means that at certain times you are looking this way, and sometimes you're looking that way, and sometimes you're looking that way, and sometimes you're looking behind, and sometimes you're looking forward this way. Have you ever seen new constellations? Have you ever seen someone photograph our stars in the sky, proving that we are looking into different areas of the universe? Because if you grab a camera, okay, if you use technology that humans have invented, and you place the camera looking upwards into the sky, and you leave it taking photos every minute, you are going to see that the stars behave in a circle. Stars move around in circles. That would only be possible if we live in a flat Earth. And there is one star called Polaris that never moves. It's right in the middle, and it never moves. So how come we are in a ball spinning inside the universe? However, we always see the same star at the same position. We have the same constellations appearing on different months of the year. That would only be possible if the Earth is flat and the stars are the same every year without change. We should have at least a 360 view of our stars, and we don't. We only have a rotating star formation. You cannot erase what my eyes can see. I'm not seeing new areas of the universe when it's nighttime. I don't see it in summer, I don't see it in winter, I don't see it in autumn, and I don't see it in spring. Okay? when people try to deny flat earth, these questions they cannot answer, which means that you, sir, are very confused. 4. The sun and the moon. So, apparently, we are told that. Okay, let me erase. Let me erase so you can see better. Allow one moment so you can see better. I know you're stressed and you want everything to happen quickly, but you need to learn patience in order to see with better eyes what you see in the world. Because when you try and live in a hurry, you stop seeing clearly. Because your sight is like water. If you move it, it becomes blurry. But if you stand still, everything starts being seen neatly. Okay. We are told by scientists and by the scientific community that the moon is this little and the sun is absolutely massive. However, when you look up to the sky, the sun and the moon have the same size. Do you understand what your eyes are seeing? If the moon is this small and the sun is that big, how come when you look into the sky, doesn't matter if it's daylight or if it's nighttime, how are they the same size? Because when you see an eclipse, you see two bodies of the same size. And this doesn't explain this. Science doesn't explain what we see with our own eyes. Now, scientists say, wait a second, because we live in a globe and the moon is a satellite, the moon is close to Earth, and the sun, which is millions of miles away and is so big, it happens that coincidentally the distance of the Earth and the sun is matching perfectly with the size of the moon and the perspective of the sun at such a long distance, making both elements in the sky the same size. That is science. The science that we are told from very little. Now, I just want to tell you that the probability of the moon and the sun appearing as the same size, thanks to the distance of the sun, making the sun smaller until the exact position of the moon in size. The probability of that happening is 1 between infinity. It means it's impossible, people. It means that this is a lie. So the sun and the moon actually, they help us understand that we live in a flat earth. Because if you photograph the sun moving through your sky at the exact time of the day, for every day of the year, the sun does this. It does an 8. Okay, something like that. I'm not the best drawer, but it does something like that. This would be impossible if we live in a globe. It doesn't work like that. The sun in a flat plane, okay, imagine this is flat. The sun is moving in circles that are wider or smaller during the time of the year. Okay, and the moon goes with the sun. I know it's hard to understand sometimes because you have to deprogram yourself. But imagine, okay, for 1 second, imagine that our earth is flat. And if you look at it from the top, you see a circle. Okay? The sun is moving in circles, and the moon is moving in circles. And they have the same size. This represents yin and yang. Okay? Yin and yang represent the sun and the moon. That's why culture is very important. Because if we manage to protect our culture and don't let it die, we find hidden knowledge that come from our ancestors. There is also another reason why the sun in a scientific way is a lie. Okay? You see, if the sun is millions of miles away, okay, when you see the clouds, the sun rays would be completely vertical. No matter where you are, sun rays would be vertical if the sun is millions of miles away. Okay, it's science, real science. You see, if an object is so far away, it's impossible that sun rays could be diagonal. Okay? This doesn't exist unless science is a lie and flat earth is true. Because in a flat earth where celestial bodies like the sun and the moon are not that far away, if the sun is actually close to us, then you have angles of sun rays, and those angles form a triangle. And with that triangle, you can actually calculate the distance of the sun from Earth. That would be real science. You see, because sun rays are diagonal, that means that the sun cannot be millions of miles away. Because flat earth, people, is true. Is that it's just, you have water, long distance photos, the stars in the sky, the sun on the moon, sun rays. Those are at least 5 reasons why I can prove to you without having to use science, just common sense and what you see with your eyes. I can prove to you that flat earth has to be the most probable truth, and earth as a globe is a lie. It's just using common sense, okay? Don't try to fight it, because you're just gonna be looking ridiculous. And you don't want that, don't you? You want to be smart. You want people to think that you're smart. So, imagine if we have been told lies on purpose. Okay? What does that mean about our history? Because if we are being lied to about the world we live in, imagine what are we being lied to about our history. You see, the history that is being taught to us when we are at school, okay, is that there were little cells of bacteria that through millions of years they started evolving into fish, and fish became mammals, and mammals diverted into different species like elephants and monkeys and humans. Wait, sorry, no. Elephants, monkeys, and lions. And from the monkeys said, holy shit, mushrooms from cow poop made monkeys' brain very big. And suddenly, humans were created from monkeys. Some say they were mushrooms. Some say it's just genetic development. I say it is bullshit. We have no evidence of the Darwin evolution in none of the species that we find on Earth with your own eyes. You see, when they find species of mosquitoes, butterflies, insects, or any kind of mammal or animal in amber, these insects have the same properties they have today. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry for how I spell it. They have the same properties, people. Animals have never changed. We have no proof of the Darwin evolution. And there is a theory which is extremely important to consider, which is this, okay? If you have a chicken, okay, that's a chicken. And the chicken lays eggs that are fertilized by a male chicken. Okay. What came first? How is it possible that chickens, the first chickens, how did they exist if they come out of an egg? For an egg to be created, two chickens, female and male, have to have sex. We have no idea of how the chicken and the eggs, as simple as you may think it is, how on earth have they come into existence? Did they come through an egg? But that egg needs two chickens already existing. And if they came from chickens, then these chickens must have been born from eggs. The chicken theory is proof that history cannot be explained by science. I'm sorry. I forgot how you spell science. So embarrassing. Science is so fake that I am forgetting how to spell it in live video. Okay. So, first conclusion of the Charlie Mountain Show is that our history is a lie. We have no proof of how we ended up in the world we live in, and we have no possible explanation of how every single species came into existence, even humans. So whatever we've been told to try and cover up that mystery is a lie. The world we live in, which is a globe supposedly, is also a lie, and I believe, until I have other information that looks real, that we live in a flat earth. So if history is a lie, flat earth is a lie, what else is a lie? You see, I have more things to say. If history is a lie, people, and flat earth is a lie, what else is a lie? What if death is also a lie. Have you ever thought about what the fuck are you? Pardon my language. This is Charlie. Charlie Mountain. Okay. Charlie has a body. It's physical, you can touch it. So Charlie has a physical body. But Charlie also has uh it has something running through Charlie's body, which you can call it energy, you can call it the soul, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But this is non-physical. Okay? Your thoughts, your feelings, these things that are in you and they exist because you feel them, it's non-physical. Consciousness, if I can spell it, consciousness is non-physical. So when I think of Charlie Mountain, I cannot only say, well, Charlie is a physical body, because Charlie is also a non-physical being. I have a soul. I have energy. I have consciousness. I have feelings. I have fears. I have intuition. So this non-physical and physical characteristic of me, when I am born, they create an identity. You see, my non-physical part of me, which is my consciousness, my soul, my energy, call it whatever you want, that with my body create my identity, which is Charlie Mountain. Okay? What happens when Charlie Mountain dies? What exactly dies of Charlie Mountain? You see, we have proof that our physical body, instead of dying, it transforms. And it transforms into organic matter. And you know what organic matter means to trees? It means food. For bacteria, it's food for fungi, it's food for other animals. So our physical body never really dies. It's transformed into other stuff. Now, what happens to our non-physical consciousness? Does it die? Well, I have to say that there is proof that our consciousness or our soul or our energy, whatever you want to call it, it actually doesn't die. Because if consciousness or souls died, then uh, incarnation would not be possible. And you guess what? There are many instances of people who are living proof that reincarnation exists. You see, there are people that remember their past lives. There are people that have gone through different rituals with their family members. When they die, a part of their body is cut with a knife. And then the family follows that consciousness into a new family member in the form of a baby, and they carry the exact same scar or birth. I don't know how people call it in English. These birthmarks. There are people that have birthmarks in the exact place where family members previously cut a piece of their physical body of a family member before that family member was buried, and then few moments later a baby is born inside the same family, and that baby has birthmarks of the cut, and that baby grows into an adult, and that adult has experiences that can only be explained if there is some type of connection with their previous identity. That is why I believe death is also a lie. You see, it is true that our identity dies. Okay? What people miss from family members and loved ones when people die is their identity. They miss Charlie Mountain, because Charlie Mountain is unique. It's the combination of a physical body with genetics and a non-physical soul or consciousness. That identity will never be repeated. Okay? It's a one in a lifetime identity that you carry as long as your physical body is alive. Once your physical body dies, your identity only exists in memories of people that are still alive and think about you. So I hope this subject is easy to understand. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. But the most important thing that you have to have in mind is that I am speaking from the heart and with the truth in my mouth. And if you don't believe me, the only thing you have to do is think outside the box. Compare different opinions and try to see if you are capable of understanding what seems like truth and what seems like lies. Okay? Now, when I think of human beings, I see, damn, we don't know our history. We know our history for a few 100 years, maybe, but we don't know what our history is. because our history books were destroyed or they are being kept sealed. But if our history that we have been told and indoctrinated is a lie, and the earth we live in is actually flat, and death is questionable, then don't you think we should consider that we have no idea of what is going on? You see, there's also something very delicate, which is God. I want to say that I believe in God. I believe in God as a creator. I believe in God as a power. Creator, power. And I believe in God as a mean of explanation. You see, we cannot explain the chicken theory, why the earth is flat, why we have stars, and why water is so curious. We don't understand death. We don't understand our history. We don't understand a lot of things that happen around the world. So sometimes believing God as explanation, as creator, as power, it actually um, it's a way of giving something that we don't understand a name. We say God. Okay? One thing is God in this meaning, and another thing is religion. Okay? See, religion is one thing, and God is another. Religion is a story about an idea of God. Okay? You can believe that story, but if that story isn't proven, then it remains a story. And religion involves Christianity, Islam, and hundreds of religions. The Hindu religion, the Viking religion. You see, Africa has a lot of religions. South America, there are religions that explain a story about God. Now, I believe that all these stories carry information. Okay. Now, what if we say, okay, out of all these stories about God, which are called religions, what do they have in common and what do they not have in common? Okay? You see, what they have in common is people have good and bad behavior or souls, whatever you want to call it. It talks about spirits. It talks about prophecy. These are common things that you see in all religions. There is a God that is powerful, or many gods, but there is power attributed to God in all religions. Now, what do all the religions in the world, what do they not have in common? Well, rules, names, stories inside the religion, and history. Okay. You see, if people focused on believing everything that each religion has in common, then we have, in my opinion, a closer meaning of God than if we just believe in one religion in itself. I know that this is a very delicate subject. I am entitled to my opinion, and I believe everything that I'm saying is actually there for you to read. Read every religion. Read of it as if it was a story. Compare religions, compare different stories, and you start getting data. You get things in common, things that are not in common. So I like everything that religions have in common. You say religions, they speak about how you have to be good with one another, you have to behave as a good human being, you have to be careful of other people and spirits. I like these kind of things, but what I don't like are rules, names, certain stories, and what they say is our history. For example, Christianity, in order to believe their story, we have to believe that I don't know the story very well, but apparently there is a Virgin Mary who is a virgin, and a virgin gave birth to the first human with power called Jesus. I'm not sure if what I'm saying is accurate. I'm just saying that this story cannot be explained with our human genetics, with how we behave as a species. It's impossible that the stories of Christianity can be true if the stories that they are telling us, they do not go with our genetics. How am I supposed to believe that is the truth if we cannot explain the chicken's theory or the human theory? Like, who were the first humans? How was the first human created? Okay, you want to tell me in Christianity that a certain God created Adam and Eve, and that is a story that I cannot verify. Okay, same with Islam. Same with Hindu, same with Viking stories, same with African religions and South American religions. See, they have things in common, but how come every single religion differs in names, rules, and stories? How does that work? Who do I believe? Why should I believe one religion and not the other if every single religion is entitled to an opportunity to be an explanation of truth and our reality? I personally haven't found any religion that actually explains my views of the world, what I see with my own eyes, what I'm trying to explain. But there is also another religion, which is being atheist. And guess what? I do not believe in that religion either. You see, trying to say that God doesn't exist and that everything happens scientifically, well, there are so many lies in our science that how come you are so confident that the chicken theory is explained through science of Darwin evolution, but this is completely um, disregarded as a possible truth? So, Charlie Mountain is not religious, but he chooses to believe in God to explain creation, power to create, a power that we cannot think of, and a mean of explanation of the unknown. That is God for me, and I believe also that there is a link between God and our soul or consciousness, whatever you want to call it. You see, I think that every single living species in what we call our flat earth, I think that they carry a piece of creator possibility, power, and could we have the opportunity to try and explain certain things. We have power of explanation. We we can explain things without being wrong. You see, I don't believe that things cannot be explained in life. I know there are many sayings that nothing in life is true or false. There are no absolute truths. That is not what I believe. I believe that certain things do exist. I believe that our history exists, but we don't know about it. I believe we live in a flat earth because it cannot be round. I believe in water and how it behaves. I believe the photos that we take with our cameras are true in that they are showing us reality. And what is a conclusion that we can say is an absolute truth? Okay. If we are being told lies as absolute truths from the moment we are young until the moment we die, what is happening? Why, as humans, are we being fed lies? Why are we trying to be confused? Why are we trying to be separated as a species? Why do human beings as a species are unable to coexist in proper cooperation? Why are people divided? Why do people argue and fight so much? Why are these all these wars? Why is life so expensive? What is the meaning of our society? Why are we here? There are so many questions that need to be answered. That brings me to the next and final chapter of this episode 1, which is humans, in my opinion, have lost their purpose as a species. To me, this is an absolute truth. You can have purpose as an individual, okay? You see, I have purpose. I want to try and contribute to my species in a positive way. But as a whole, human beings have no purpose collectively. And I believe that this was not always the case. I believe human beings as a species at some point we lost our history and therefore we lost our purpose. And without purpose, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Without purpose, there is no meaning as a species. See, as a species, we have no meaning because we don't have purpose collectively. We have a big problem as a species because if you think about it, humans nowadays are being organized in what we call society. But what if society is a lie? Like death, like history, like flat earth. What if society actually is not true? It's an illusion and we are a species under control. What if human beings as a species live under control from something else? Okay. What if something we don't know about is controlling our species, deliberately choosing to hide our history, hide our purpose, and force humans to live with no meaning collectively? What if this enables total control? By who? Who is controlling humanity? You see, you have David Icke saying reptilians, reptiles. You have people saying shapeshifters. You have religious people saying it's the devil. You have people saying it's the rich families. People say aliens. Can we prove it? No, we can't. We have no actual proof that um, these are the final bosses controlling humanity. You see, reptiles, if they exist, as David Icke says, and I personally, I want to believe him, but I haven't seen it with my own eyes. So I've heard stories, I've heard there's evidence, I see certain videos on the internet and broadcasts that don't make sense. But reptiles living amongst humans is something that Charlie Mountain has not verified yet. However, the devil, the devil is something that is the opposite of God. Does it exist? It looks like it. I see a lot of destruction, pain, torture, and horrible things happening on our flat earth. And the devil could be an explanation. Because there are certain things that we know about our history. There are pieces of information that we have from our history. And past civilizations, they have something in common. They speak about the same spiritual entities. This is something for another episode, but this could be true. Certainly, rich families control the world. They control humans. That is for sure. Aliens, I haven't seen any proof myself, but I'm not close to that option. So, what I know for sure to be an absolute truth is that human beings have lost its purpose as a species, and we live under total control from something that could be one of these, all of these, or something else. But no one is going to deny that human beings don't live under total control. And if that is true, what happens next? What are humans going to do about living under control? Do you like it as a human? Do you want to be under control? Do you want to be living under certain rules? I don't. That's why I'm doing this show. I want human beings to find their purpose, and I believe that the first true purpose of the human being species is to break free from total control. Break free, people. Let's all try to break free as a species. How about we can all agree that that must be our number one purpose in life? To break free. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Can all human beings agree that we want to break free? What does freedom mean? What does it mean to break free from total control? Those are questions that are going to be answered in following episodes. I hope you enjoyed this masterclass of the Charlie Mountain Show, episode 1. What are we doing here? What is true? What is not? Try and follow, try and share, and see you next time.